Most of the best ideas anybody's ever come up with, especially when it comes to, trying to fix things that are going on in the country, were always mocked at first. The best ones mocked at first. Case in point, who is laughing now at the crime crackdown in Washington, D.C.? Anybody? Anybody at all? Because once those Washington, D.C. residents, the people that actually live there and have to work there and had to carry, some sort of a weapon just to get to work, once they started speaking out and saying, this is great, I love this plan, and most of those happen to be black individuals, once they started speaking out, the media shut right up. Well, here's the next thing. There's not so much of a pushback now for the crime crackdown to come to Chicago, but get ready, Chicago, because it's coming next. When you've lost one of the major media outlets in this argument, when now even they're in favor of it, yeah, it's coming. We also have this coming up today. Apparently some sort of a announcement. They say 2 p.m. from the Oval Office. Trump's going to do some sort of an Oval Office press conference. The ones from the Oval Office are always usually more important. I don't know. Maybe it's something awesome. Maybe it's something big. I don't know. This is one of those surprise deals, but I wouldn't get your expectations up too high, though. And they never start on time, so I wouldn't expect 2 p.m., but we'll figure it out. We'll take some guesses, and tomorrow, by the time it, already airs and people are talking about it and ripping it apart, we'll talk about that as well. And there's one other idea that's coming out of New York City that, again, is getting laughed at because politics are involved, but so are animals. Whenever somebody's laughing at an idea that normal people are in favor of, I always look at this and go, you know what? Maybe that'll work. Talking about cats saving New York City. That's right. The feline kitty cat. Anyway, we got a lot of weird stuff to get to today. But thanks for being here. Welcome to it. Short work week. By the way, you're already this much closer to the weekend than you were last week this time. But thanks for being here with me. Wicked Radio live stream, part of Wicked Wisdom with Bill Adams. Appreciate you, you audio podcast listeners as well. Let's get to the crime crackdown now, the whole issue. Anybody laughing at this now? Anybody laughing? All these media experts, all the politicians, all the Washington, D.C. officials, remember they came out and they said, no, we're going to push back. And then you had all these old hippies in Washington, D.C., or not even from there, but arriving from their Northern Virginia homes to mock this and to push back. Save Washington. We were laughing about it at the time. Save our crime. Did you see any of that now? Anywhere? No, because apparently it's working. And I'm telling you, the turning point was when Washington, D.C. residents, most of them poor crime-ridden communities, a lot of people who are facing this for years, who called for action but never thought anything would be done. Once they started speaking out and saying, this is great. This is great. We had them. Last week I had plenty of video and audio for you from residents saying, yeah, I don't have to watch my back anymore, walking to work, just trying to get to my job. Once that happened, you know who shut up immediately? The media and the old white libs who don't even live in that community. Gone. But the pushback's happening now in another city because target number 2 for the crime crackdown, it's coming. This is confirmed now. Oh, believe me, it's coming. Chicago, Illinois. Let's go to Chicago now and let's see. Well, wait a minute. I'm being told, no, this is a protest in Mexico City? Oh, no. It just sounds like Mexico City. They actually staged a protest, mostly in Spanish, waving Mexican flags in downtown Chicago to protest cleaning up the crime. I feel weird even saying that sentence, but this is how it all went. If you were to protest a plan to clean it, first of all, it's insane you're protesting a plan to clean up crime in your city. Would you do it waving another country's flag? Like, this is where they are. Like, who is that going to convince? And where are these people? Once this starts to happen, it's going to be just like Washington, D.C. It'll be the pushback and the outrage and the local officials. The outrage. And then all of a sudden, they'll start to, just like Washington, D.C., they'll start to talk to residents and real people that live there. And you'll start to hear things like, thank God this is happening. Yeah, but aren't you concerned that federal officials are in your city? You know what? It'll just be just like the people in Washington, D.C. This is what they're going to say. I don't care. Get rid of the crime. Who the hell cares? Not that big of a deal. And here's another thing. Why this protest is not going to last so long. This just happened. When you've lost Morning Joe That's the morning show on MSNBC. Or what's the rebrand? What the hell are they calling that thing now? Whatever that stupid network is. When you've lost them in your entire argument, you're going nowhere. Now they're advocating for this to actually happen, despite what the Chicago crooked politicians are saying.
Is you have leaders in Chicago that see this, as you say. We've been reading about this for years now. Every weekend, and maybe crime has gone down. But, we had the mayor of Chicago on last week saying, we don't need any more police officers. Police officers aren't the answer. No police officers. I think he said no 5 times. You look what's happening this weekend. You look so, I actually think that J.B. Pritzker should do something radical. I think he should pick up the phone, call the president, and say, and I know, you don't have the constitutional authority to deploy the National Guard here and to police my. You can do that in D.C. You can't do that in Chicago. But let's partner up.
You've now got Morning Joe Scarborough, advocating for doing exactly that. He's wrong about the constitutional authority, but that's a debate for another day. Did you see the Chiron, though? The Chiron is the lower third of the screen where they have the thing. As he's talking, they had the weekend update of crime in Chicago. 54 shot, 7 murdered. Hell of a weekend. Way to spend Labor Day weekend, everybody. And you're going to tell me you actually think that the residents, the people trapped in that crime cesspool in the south side of Chicago, aren't going to be in favor of a crime crackdown there? You know what they're going to say? I'll predict it now, and it's not even a risk to make this prediction. They're going to somebody's going to be brave enough to go into those neighborhoods, put a camera in their face and say, what do you think so far? And day 3 of the National Guard coming in. They're going to say, hell yeah. I love this. I've been asking for this for 25 years. That's what's going to happen. And they know that. This is why you got people like Morning Joe already turning around and advocating for it. This was the same guy. This is one of the same clowns, by the way, before Washington happened, saying, Trump's a dictator. He can't do that. Right. Again, it's like a theme. How many good ideas have happened recently that got mocked to no end recently until, guess what? They started to work. And then they started to talk to real people, not these empty suit, shallow, empty media talking head idiots, or these economists, or the so-called crime experts, or the politicians who are trying to tell you. By the way, Washington, D.C., going back to them for a second, remember when they were trying to tell you that we don't need this, crime's been down. You know what they realized? Hardly publicized anywhere, but they actually took a look at the D.C. crime statistics from 2024 into 2025. You know what they were categorizing murders as? They were categorizing them as accidents. Hand to God that actually happened. Gee, I don't understand. I can't believe your crime stats are down when, it says here that accidents, people falling downstairs or breaking their necks, was in the same category as somebody getting shot in the head. Wow, amazing, but great job with your crime stats. Real people aren't buying it anymore. This is why the pushback is already failing for Chicago. So get ready, Chicago. It's coming. Crime crackdown next. And then it'll keep rolling on because there's no way they're going to stop with this because crime, they are winning so bigly, as Trump would say, on crime. This is such a popular move. It'll go throughout the nation. It'll probably, let's see, maybe right to New York. So Washington, D.C., because it was right down the street. And just, I think, image-wise, they had to start there. Then they go to Chicago. Maybe New York. Maybe L.A. I don't know. Philly's pretty bad. I don't know, but it's happening. And you know what? Even people that hate Trump that happen to live in those cities, they're like, yeah, this is pretty good. There is another idea that may not happen, but I'm going to put it into the universe, and I want you to as well. So this whole thing, there's a mysterious Oval Office meeting happened today, and I know this is a lot of politics. We'll try to get out of that here in just a second, but it does relate to you and me in everyday life. It's one of those mysterious Oval Office announcements Trump's going to make today. Now, temper your expectations, because quite often these turn out to be not as exciting as they're hyped up to be. It's supposed to be 2 p.m., and they never start on time, so that's the other thing. So who knows what it's going to be. But first takeaway is this. When could you recall another president or another time when you actually were curious about what's going to come out of the White House? I mean, honestly. And this is the TV producer side of Trump. This is the guy who gets it, like, hype things up and get interest and control the narrative is what it's about, and control the headlines. He's got people thinking, I wonder what this press conference is going to be about. I don't know. That never happens with anybody else. But the second thing is, it could be a bunch of different things. It could be about the crime crackdown in Chicago coming. Could be about trade. Could be about trade specifically and sanctions and tariffs against one country in particular. Because it's kind of interesting that he sent out a Truth Social message the night before or the day before he actually, promoted this Oval Office meeting. And this is about India. Very interesting. Now, he sent this out, and he said, now it's long. I'm not going to do this to you. I wouldn't read the whole thing, but he kind of had a descriptive Truth Social about India and our trade deals with them and saying what few people understand is we do very little business with India. Tremendous amount of business with us. In other words, they sell us massive amounts of goods. The biggest client will sell them very little until now. A one-sided relationship. So I don't know if that's what the Oval Office press conference is going to be about or the event. Who the hell knows? Or who even know if it's going to start on time. But something's going on with India. Now, remember that whole thing I was talking about before about great ideas are mocked at first? I won't play them for you because they're all dorks and they're incredibly boring. I could not believe how many expert economists all weekend long, all day yesterday, were talking about, the hand-wringing. Trump is so, this is where he fails. We were wrong on all the other trade deals and the tariffs before, but this one we're going to be right on. He's going to fail with India. India right now is opening up the trade market with China. And that happens to be true. They are actually having meetings with them. But this is all the economists, no. This economic policy, this is going to be a total fail. Just like they said with the tariffs with every other country. All right, now here's an explanation. Peter Navarro from the White House. He explained the whole problem pretty well with India, even better than I think Trump did with the Truth Social. Here's Peter Navarro explaining it.
Here's the problem with India. It's a two-pronged problem. There's 50% tariffs on India. 25% of them is the reciprocal tariff because of unfair trade. 25% is the fact that India is buying oil from Russia. So start with the reciprocal trade tariffs. The problem is that India literally is the Maharaja of tariffs. It has the highest tariffs of any major country in the world, and it's
the Maharaja of tariffs. It seems like, have you noticed this too, that everybody that's around Trump or spent time with him, they start to do that persuasive thing, like they put a nickname to it. Maybe not as nasty as Trump does sometimes, but Peter Navarro, India is the Maharaja of tariffs. Well, here's the thing. Something's coming. That trade deal is going to be fixed. Now, every one of these so far, every one of these economists I was just talking about that have blasted every single tariff idea we had with every other country. Remember what they said about Canada? Why? Why are we picking on our northern friends? Why do this to Canada? 2 months later, it's working. And all of those economists that said it wouldn't work, not saying a word, not a peep. But they think they're gonna win on India. They're all excited about this one. It's gonna be a massive fail for the United States, and we're gonna sit here and say we were right. Really? Are you sure about this? Because this to you, expert economists, you've been wrong about everything so far. And the American people are in favor of it because we're starting to see the effects, the positive effects of it. But prices are so high. Well, when you print up billions of dollars in inflation from the last administration, it's going to take a while to get that stuff out of the economy and fix things. Now, here's the other idea. What if? Just saying what if. Let's put this into the universe. Who would be against? Even the most ardent, vocal, lunatic, TDS-inflicted Trump haters hate one thing. This could be the issue that unites us all. We all hate the call centers and the spam calls, mostly confirmed, there's no doubt about it, from India. Let's put this idea into the universe. I don't think it's going to happen, but how incredible would this be if Trump announced in the Oval Office today at 2 p.m. that we're going to tariff the hell out of the Indian call centers? Can you imagine? Can you imagine that? That would be, everybody would love that. Now, it's not just the call centers, like the people calling you trying to scam you out of your money. It goes to something else really important, customer service issues, which we know have been awful. I mean, let's just be honest about this. Customer service these days sucks in general, and a lot of that is because of outsourced jobs. What if we ended all the outsourcing of American jobs to Indian recruiting firms as well? What if we did that? What if that happened? Is that the announcement today that's coming? I doubt it, but it would be amazing. And if more people are aware of this, you know by now, if you paid attention to me for any amount of time, you know by now our collective voices actually do matter. If enough people talk about this, demand it, other people are doing interviews about this, eventually this is a White House that actually listens to the people. They do have a pretty good sense for what's going on, the pulse of the American people. This would be a massively huge deal. Now, you know how this would go. Of course it would. If he actually said today or at any other time with the Indian tariffs deal, hey, we're gonna tax the hell out of any company. We're gonna tariff any company. Won't do business or trade with any company. There's some little guy in a call center calling your grandma at home. So you know how this would work out. The media would say, oh, he's ridiculous. He's gone off the deep end this time. Real people, American people who have actually dealt with this would be going, yeah, that would be awesome to get rid of that. And the outsourcing of jobs that have happened. What if they crack down on that? How many job opportunities in tech especially would open up, or customer service would open up in the United States if we actually did that? So again, don't take it at face value. Whatever crackdown is coming for India, whatever's happening, and something's happening, whether he talks about it today or not, it's going to be the same pattern, mocked to hell. The same economists that said all the other tariffs wouldn't work are going to be blasting this thing. Then it'll take a little bit of time. You'll see some results, and those same economists will say nothing. Those same talking head media people would say nothing. Maybe, maybe not. We'll see. All right, this is, technically, yeah, it's politics. Changing gears here for a second, but I think it fits more in line with the theme we have today of good ideas that get mocked to oblivion before they actually work. Now, you got this whole New York City mayoral race, and you may not care about New York, and I totally understand that. It's not my favorite city either, but it's true. What happens in New York really does affect the rest of the country. It just does. It's our media center. It's the financial center. It's the biggest city we have in the country. Got that mayoral race with that lunatic, anti-American lunatic, devout Marxist, Zohran Mamdani, who, let's face it and start to face facts, he's probably going to win. He probably just is. But out of all of this, and the pushback is happening where people are starting to talk about the real issues that are happening in that city, and they're bad, one of them is not only pollution. There's the crime problem, number one, obviously. There's a lack of housing up there. There's pollution. There's also a major rat problem. And if you paid attention to anything in popular culture with New York City, even if you haven't been there over the years, you're like, of course, New York City rats. No. Not like this. And everybody that's there, especially on the east side of Manhattan, are saying the same thing. They're saying they've never had a rat problem this bad. One of the guys running for this mayoral office, for this seat, not going to win, most likely, according to the pollsters, but it's Curtis Sliwa. Remember him, the Guardian Angels guy? He started this and it started in the 70s, and it's funny how things come full circle. Started the Guardian Angels program because back in the early to mid to late 70s, crime in New York City was so bad, especially in the subway. He put together this group of people to patrol, unarmed, but they know what they're doing, patrolling the New York City subway system with the red bandanas to try to help out the citizens of New York because the city, the politicians, weren't responding and the cops were totally overwhelmed. Sound familiar, like what's going on today, not just in New York, but in other cities? Well, Curtis Sliwa has been actually a big talk radio guy. He's been on WABC for a long time as well. But he's running for mayor of New York. Probably not going to win. Doesn't have the money behind him. Doesn't have the support. But that doesn't mean he doesn't have great ideas. Again, I'll say it again. Most great ideas get mocked to oblivion before they actually happen. But tell me this isn't a great idea. Made some headlines. At least he's getting some attention for this one. What if you used the pet overpopulation problem in New York City to help with the rat problem? He's talking about cats. What if the kitty cat, the feline friend, solved the rat problem? Oh, that'll never work. Really? Are you sure? Here's the headline of the New York Post. Curtis Sliwa calls for feral cat colonies to claw back in New York City rat problem. And here's another guy that's starting to use persuasive language and description. Here's his quote: "Caped crusaders at night." It works. And again, this is just like Washington, D.C. or Chicago. You talk to people who are dealing with this stuff in New York City, and you start to say, hey, what if we used all these cats that are going to be probably, sadly, put to death in shelters? You used them to get rid of the rat problem. Politicians and talking heads in the media would say, oh, that's ridiculous. Talk to real people that deal with it. They're like, yeah, do it. Absolutely do it. And apparently he's been I didn't know this about the guy. I'm not a New York City resident. Apparently he's a big shelter-saving kind of guy anyway. He talked about this before. He actually went in and saved a bunch of cats in an abandoned... Anyway, for a little reminder, here's Curtis Lewa himself.
There was a pressing issue at the Queensbridge projects, which is right along the East River, underneath the 59th Street Bridge. So Zeke, one of our longtime guardian angels, used to live there and has maintained friendship with a lot of the tenants, who contacted him and said, we have some cats that are in the basements of the Astoria projects. They've sealed up the entry and exit points. They had no idea the cats were in there during the day. So Zeke called me down. They had sealed up these entries. You could hear the cats. And so we were able to pull back the covering and we crawled in. And there you could see all the cats had their own little locations. The tenants loved them because they weren't having a mouse and a rat problem and a rodent problem, which they're...
That's what started his idea, to use the cats that are going to be put to sleep in these shelters because it's an overpopulation problem. Let them do some work and get rid of the rats. Again, we're in phase 1 of this idea. They're mocking it. Then they'll talk to the residents. Someone will find them and talk to them about it. Then it'll be massively popular. So I don't think the guy's going to win that race. But if ideas like this get out and start to be put into action, you don't know. Good ideas find a way. That's all I'm saying. Hey, tomorrow's midweek already. Can you believe that? Short work weeks. What if this is a big experiment for companies across the country? Hey, those short work weeks work. Maybe. We'll see. I'm sure they'll be talking about it. We'll be talking about it as well. In the meantime, thanks for finding me, audio podcast listeners as well. Press subscribe and download. Appreciate you so much. And you've been doing that, so thank you very much on the audio side of things. And on video and just on X and replay on YouTube and Facebook. Trying to keep all the social media channels in my mind straight. Just look for Wicked Wisdom with Bill Adams. That's where the live stream will replay as well. Make it a wicked awesome Tuesday. Get back in for the weekend. Get back into productivity. Maybe your kids are in school, back into the wheelhouse, getting things done. And remember, some of the best ideas start off getting mocked, and then they start to work. Make it a wicked awesome Tuesday. We'll talk to you tomorrow.